One of my absolute favorite sayings in business is simple scales and fancy fails. And I keep on coming back to this statement because when I was getting started as an entrepreneur and all I wanted to do was make 6 figures a year.
How much money you make?
I don't know, 70,000 last month.
All I wanted to do was really replace my salary that I was making at my 9 to 5. Well, back then I thought that business owners had some complicated thing or everything was like there was some magical thing that they understood that I didn't, or there was something invisible that I wasn't understanding. And over time, as I've cracked through different barriers, as I've broken through different upper limits and thresholds of my own beliefs and different accomplishments that I never honestly thought that I would hit. When I hit these numbers, my first $10,000 a month, my first $20,000 a month, my first $100,000 a month, and $200,000 a month in cash collected, not in contracts, all of these different milestones made me realize that it's not that deep, bro. And so what I've come to realize is that at all of these different thresholds, what it took for me to accomplish these things and hit these certain goals, actually relatively simple. It came down to focus. It came down to dedication, persistence, and unwavering dedication to actually reaching the goal. And so at different milestones, obviously there was different complexities. At certain points, I needed to focus on sales teams and client acquisition. Other milestones and other pieces of the problem was my offer design and how we were packaging things. Other issues have been setting expectations with clients, delivering product quality, client success, and mapping out that journey, looking at what fulfillment actually looks like, what retention looks like, capturing more money on the back end of the business. And so of course, like when we go into these things, when we go into taxes and finances and accounting, it's like very quickly things can feel overwhelming and overly complicated. But the reality is like none of that shit matters. Like cut out all of the noise. It really just comes down to 2 problems, and then everything else is just nuance on those 2 problems. And the 2 problems are getting sales and successfully delivering on clients so they keep coming back. That's really all it comes down to, especially with a service-based business, with whether it's an agency, it's a coaching offer, a high-ticket service, whatever it is. It really just comes down to getting sales and then making sure that you actually fulfill on the expectations set, which has a lot to do with the expectations and not actually the product quality, which we will get into in a separate video. Today's video, I just want to remind you that it's not that deep, bro. And so of course there's going to be opportunities and there's going to be moments in your business where you get a tax bill and now there's an opportunity to up-level the way that you're actually doing your accounting. You're paying off your taxes, although I don't recommend. I hope the IRS isn't listening. All I'm really here to say is like there's going to be problems that come up and you should focus on solving those problems. And at least in my experience, having generated over $700,000 in less than 6 months in business, it's not that deep, bro. Just focus on what actually matters. And remember, what actually matters is getting results. It's bringing in money. It's making sure that you do whatever you can to improve the quality of your product, to improve the quality of your culture, to improve the quality of your team, of your systems, of your onboarding, and all of these different things. But it is so easy, at least in my experience in business, to focus on the wrong things. It's so easy to lose focus on what actually matters, right? We get convinced that having the perfect website design is going to be the thing that takes us to $1 million business. We get so focused on having the perfect company merch is going to be the thing that breaks us through the threshold of $100,000 a month. And all of these things are amazing, right? Having good onboarding videos, having good social media content, having a good sales process, having all these ABC, XYZ things are important, but they are not the thing that is driving revenue. And so you have to focus on, number one, making sure your business actually has the money to afford the investments that you want to make into these different areas. And you also have to make sure that the thing you're investing your time, attention, energy, and focus into is actually the right thing to be focused on at this point in your business. So how I like to look at things, if you're $0 to $10,000 or even $0 to $20,000 a month, really the only thing you should focus on is getting new clients. And back when I started my first agency, it was calling people that I knew, it was calling strangers, it was cold calling people off of Google, it was sending DMs on Instagram, sending DMs on LinkedIn, it was emailing emailing people. I was doing literally whatever I could to hop on sales calls and close clients. I was customizing packages. I was going through a discovery process and saying, well, what do you need and what is your budget? And figuring out how I could fulfill on those things. I was like water, man. I was ruthless. I was relentless. I was just hungry for opportunity. And so that's how I got started. But once you get past that $20,000 a month, you can't be doing custom packages for every single person. You're already likely at $20,000 a month, working 60-hour weeks, maybe even 80-hour weeks like I was. And at this point, you don't have bandwidth for more clients of just random one-off projects. This is the time and place in your business where the opportunity is to build out team and systems. And so what took me from $20,000 a month to over $100,000 a month wasn't more complicated projects. It wasn't just pitching new people. It was creating systems around this. So the first thing I had to do was I had to standardize my offer. Once I had a standardized offer, which I really should have done in the beginning, that's more of a basic thing. Once I had that standardized offer and I knew what I was pitching every single time, then I focused on creating systems and support, hiring the right people, talent, not just random nobodies, on my sales and client success, right? Because these are the two pillars, sales and client success. So what I did is I looked at what are the most time-consuming or resource-intensive elements of number one, client acquisition, number two, client success, and can I hire these parts out? Can I create more leverage in these areas? Because right now it is taking a ton of my time or a ton of my energy, a ton of my focus. So I started looking at how can I delegate? How can I automate a lot of these parts of my business to increase leverage, to buy back my time, to create more freedom so that I can focus on higher ROI activities? Can I go focus on something that can actually be more valuable to the company? A great example of this is, let's say I'm booking sales calls one-on-one, right? I'm actually having conversations with people to book sales calls. Let's value this task at $50 an hour, which is a great amount of money. It's very valuable. But there's going to be a certain point where doing something like running ads, which I'll value, let's say at $500 an hour, is a much better use of my time. And so what I want to look at is, can I afford to pay someone whatever that task is worth? So in this case, $50 an hour. Can I afford to hire that out to someone who's actually talented and capable? Is it worth my time to do that? Buy back those, let's say 10 hours a week that I'd be using, or 20 hours a week, and then use those 10 or 20 hours on something more valuable like running my ads, because the ads are worth $500 an hour, right? And so you want to start looking at what is the value of this task? What's the leverage of this task? And should I be working on this or should someone else? And so that 20K plus growth for me really came down to my team, and it really came down to my systems. And then what broke me from $100,000 to $200,000 a month, and right now I can't speak to anything above that because I haven't done anything above that, which I can't wait to do. But what took me from $100,000 to $200,000 a month was actually, believe it or not, culture. It was making sure the people around me, the team around me, understood the vision, they understood the plan, they understood what was important to us as a goal, or as a company, our shared goals, our shared vision, our shared values. And when the people on the team actually understand why we hire people, why we fire people, why we treat clients the way that we treat them, what expectations are on the team, this is what's going to create that family-like unit where people actually watch each other's backs and actually support each other step by step moving forward. So all of that to say, and I know this is just a quick review and I haven't taken the time to put together a presentation, which we will be doing in future videos. We can say production quality is not so high in this video, but my intention today is just to film something, to share some thoughts, to share candidly how I feel without a script in terms of where I am in business and where we're going, with the reminder that it's really not that deep, bro. So with this said, that's a little bit of my journey on what I focused on and what got me to where I was. And maybe that works for you and maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe you've done 200K plus a month and you're listening to this saying, no, I took a completely different route. Things look completely different. And that's totally fine too. I don't want to confuse my journey with your journey because we have to understand your journey is going to be different than mine.